Hi everyone, today's video is going to be how to make Micarta scales. Micarta scales are pretty easy to make, well, mostly once you've made them a couple of times. Right here is just a blank that I've made in the past. This is just a scrap part of it because when you make it, the fiberglass kind of oozes out of your press. If you're not familiar with what a Micarta scale is, it is a man-made scale made out of fiberglass resin with some cloth. It is a lot better, in my opinion, than wood because, like with wood scales, your hands will slip. With Micarta scales, your hands don't slip as much. If you drop your knife, most likely you're going to damage your blade and not your handle. They're real tough, they're real durable. So with that said, let's get going. Let's go over some safety aspects, the materials, and how to make it. Alright, let's cover your PPE, your personal protective equipment while you're working with Micarta. Respirator is going to be your first thing that you're going to need, and it's going to have to be a good one. It's going to have to be one that's going to protect you from the fumes. It's going to have to be one that's going to protect you from particles. It's going to have to be a multi-purpose respirator. So go out, get yourself a good one, because when you start sanding this stuff down, it can be toxic. Obviously, it's not good for your lungs, and when you're making this stuff with the fumes, that fumes can kill you. So you gotta work in a well-vented area, like I'm working in my garage right now, but I'm gonna have my respirator on. Gonna need yourself some gloves, some good gloves. You're gonna need them to be cut resistant, you're gonna need them chemical resistant, and you're gonna need them thin enough so you're able to work with the cloth while you're dipping it in your fiberglass resin. Eye protection, safety glasses, goggles, something to protect your eyes. Clothing wise, you're going to need long sleeve shirts, pants, shoes, no sandals. You don't want this stuff on you at all. Alright, now since we covered our PPE, let's go over the materials that you will need to make your Micarta. Let's talk about the press. Basically it's a 1x10. In my case here, I am using a 6x9.5. It doesn't have to be that big. It can be bigger, it can be smaller. But this is the beginning of your press. You're going to need wax paper for your press because we're going to end up lining this with the wax paper. So this way the fiberglass resin will not stick to the wood. It's a lot easier to peel off. Fiberglass resin. You're going to need this. This is a number 2. Comes with the hardener inside. We're going to end up mixing that up. You're going to need clamps. You're going to need a lot of clamps. You're going to need clamps that you're able to adjust because we're going to end up pressing the fiberglass and the material together, and we're going to end up clamping this all down, and we want a nice even clamp to this. Let's go over the material. You're going to need something that's cotton based. And for the example of this video, I'm going to be going with shirts. I'm going to be using 3 different types of shirts and some burlap. So basically, I'm going to be using a tan, a gray, a green, and then I'm going to use some little burlap because I like the texture on the Micarta with the fibers of the burlap. I have my press all lined up with the wax paper. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up dipping the cloth into the resin, and we're going to lay it all down here. Now, I'm going to pre-warn you, it's going to be messy and it's going to be kind of hard to work with. So you really don't want to do this on a 90-degree day because that resin does not take long to cure. If you're going to use burlap, save your burlap for the end of your project or near end of your project. So basically what you'll do, since we're going with 4 colors, I'm going to go either like with 2, one color, 3 a next, 2 another, and then maybe one piece of burlap, and then keep repeating. It all depends on what you're looking for, and it takes a little bit of trial and error to get this all down. Alright, now we have our micarta all clamped down. We're going to wait for about 24 hours. It's always a rule of thumb of mine to wait 24 hours, regardless if it's 90 degrees outside or as it is right now, it's 50. Just for a side note, if you're going to make this when it's like 90, 80 degrees, the curing time will be faster, but you will also have to make the micarta a lot faster because it does not take long once you add that hardener into your resin. So we'll come back tomorrow, we'll unclamp it, we'll take a look at it, we'll trim it up a little bit, and then I'll cut a small piece off and I'll just kind of shape it real quick for you so you can kind of see the different textures of the cloth that we use to make this.